Good morning and welcome to my blog, Wisdom for Today. So today I've been thinking about what does it mean that our life is in God's hands. That's an expression that we find within the scriptures. And oftentimes a prophet will say it or a worship leader will say it when they're facing dire circumstances. And it's almost a resignation to, well, God, whatever you want, I'll take it. And I just want to read you a couple of scriptures like that. David, who was fleeing from Saul at the time because of his jealousy, said, "My life is in your hands. Save me from mine enemies, from those who are chasing me." And at this time, Saul was chasing him for his life. In Psalms 25, David says again, now he's facing some trouble within his kingdom, "Lord, I put my life in your hands. I trust in you, my God, and I will not be disappointed." That's a little bit more positive. The first verse sounds like if I have to die, I'm going to die. The second verse says, I'm not going to be disappointed. God has something special for me. Jeremiah, when struggling with the people who aren't listening to him, and he's got some important news, says this, "My life is in your hands. Do with me what you will." I like that passage because this isn't such a dismal effect. It's saying I'll be used in however you want to use me. But my favorite passage about our life being in God's hands is found in the book of Ecclesiastes. And before I read it, let me give you a little history, my personal history with Ecclesiastes. Now, we don't know who wrote Ecclesiastes. Some say Jeremiah did. Others say it was either the son of David or David himself. But it's written during a time of Great Depression for the writer, because he keeps saying life is meaningless, meaningless, always meaningless. But he comes back to the idea that he finds one good truth, and that truth is to serve God and to find joy in this world, whatever you can find. But that too can be meaningless. But it's better to have a meaningful life with righteousness than a prosperous life without righteousness or meaning. And when he's contemplating all of this, in the book, in the chapter of Ecclesiastes 9, 1 and 2, he says, "So I reflected on all this and concluded that righteous and wise, what they do are in God's hand, but no one knows whether love or hate await them." So he comes to the conclusion that the reality is that a righteous life won't necessarily bring you prosperity. It won't necessarily put you in a place where you'll be protected from tragedy. But it's better to love God because your life is in his hands. And that's the ultimate comfort. It's better to trust God with little than have great gain without God. In my own life, I didn't understand Ecclesiastes and wouldn't read it. It seemed to always get me more depressed every time I read it. But as I've gotten older, and I've read this book again and again, I come to the conclusion that the writer is correct. If we approach our Christianity in that we will always be protected and nothing bad will happen to us, we'll have a short-lived faith. And if we approach our Christianity like an opportunist, well, I'll believe just so I'll get in heaven, you'll have a short-lived faith because heaven is too far away to deny yourself good things here on this earth, things you think are good. But if we approach this book by saying, in our faith, that life can be meaningless, but there's great joy in knowing and trusting in God's providence in your life, and righteousness is its own reward, we'll have a long faith. Because not only will we know the heights of heaven when God blesses us with prosperity, but when the depths of hell come along, we can hang on to the nail-scarred hands of Jesus Christ to get us through. I've been thinking a lot about the people in California as I hear about churches that have lost everything. And being a pastor for close to 25 years now, I know what it is to struggle and sweat over a church budget and buildings and grounds activities, and can't imagine what it would be like if you woke up and everything's gone and have to start all over again. My hearts and prayers are with them as they've lost lifetimes they've worked their whole life for. But I saw one video on YouTube of a family sitting by the ruins of their house, singing praises because they were all alive. And I thought, that's righteousness with a little gain. And it's better than someone who kept their house, who cannot look up to heaven and praise God. I look forward to seeing you in church this Sunday, and if you are not within the Enfield area, please find a Bible-believing church and go inside and worship God. God's blessings, and have a wonderful day.